God is good, and with each day that passes brings us a day closer to the launch of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. This is the NAPALM channel, and if you are new here, please consider subscribing, especially if you're interested in Pantheon-related content, old-school MMOs, EverQuest 2, RPGs, JRPGs, all that kind of thing. Now today, I want to talk about something very, very dear to my heart, very important to me. We had the new roundtable with the developers. Brad McQuaid was on the panel. We got the bins. It was a great, awesome Q&A with a lot of really good discussion, real meaty good stuff. And I'll have a link to that video if you want to watch it in its entirety. It's a little bit over an hour long. If you want to watch that in its entirety, I'll have a link down below so you can check that out. But today I wanted to cover something that they talked about, and I'll cover everything they talked about. But first I want to start today with grouping, because they went into in depth a little bit about how they are planning to manage that so that you can find groups and taking it to the next level. As stated in the video, of course, an LFG, you know, looking for a group to flag yourself so other people can find you, of course, but they're taking it a step further. Let's listen to the clip and let me show you what I mean.
Then it's our responsibility as developers to help you guys out and provide as much functionality and mechanics in there as we can. Yes, LFG is a kind of a given at this point, and then we've also talked a little bit about and in terms of finding people, and that is you're going to be able to put in different basically information about yourself. You can keep it to just when you play and what you like to play. You can go deeper than that. You can go outside of the game, talk about your hobbies and stuff like that. And basically, the system will find people. This is all voluntary, guys. If you want to just be you and and shut that all off, you can. But if this is something you'd like to use, it will go out there and say, hey, so-and-so is someone you should talk to, and it'll actually kind of hopefully help build the social fabric of the game, as well as find people for you that you can chat to and you can group together with and just have a bunch of great shared experiences.
So they go on to talk about how that in 2019 we have all this data basically from social media sites and all this kind of tools at our disposal online to meet people with the similar interests. Now if you take that into an MMORPG standpoint though, and you look at it from that perspective, why shouldn't there be a system in the game that you can kind of plug in your playtime, your average times, and we all know sometimes you might squeeze in a few hours here and there, but your average times you play, your days, the nights, the mornings, whenever it may be for you, and the part of the grouping tool or the social aspect, and they said you can turn this all off, by the way, it's not mandatory. If you just want to go completely old school, that's fine, but having these tools available to where we can say, we can find a group of people who play during our peak play times or during our availability, who play the classes that we typically need. If we're in a guild and we're typically missing an enchanter, let's just say, which from the stats looks like there's going to be enchanters everywhere, but that's a good example for the crowd control, or a bard, because they're going to be in the game at launch. I'm 100% sure of that. So anyway, a bard or an enchanter for the CC, and let's say we're in a guild, we don't have very many. We commonly need it. Well, we can plug that into our tool, our social looking for group tool, that the most commonly needed classes are bard and enchanter during these times, and it can kind of match make us with people who also typically play during that time. We can contact them, we can say, hey look, we need an enchanter, you're perfect, you play during our times according to your biography, etc., etc. That is taking the LFG tool to the next level, baby, and nobody in the MMORPG landscape, in my definite opinion, has even tried to innovate that feature since what, World of Warcraft, making it to where you can just jump in a group and roll with them through an instance dungeon and say hello and goodbye and never see them again. And that's not what we want. And they talk about that, of course they talk about that. I'm not going to play that clip. Obviously, we know that Pantheon Rise of Fallen is going as far away from that as possible, because this is a social game. This is a grouping up, meeting people, having bonds socially, and becoming friends, and all that kind of thing. That's what Pantheon Rise of Fallen is all about. So it's why this is insane. Being, you know, taking that simple tool, hey, I'm looking for a group, anybody needs me, to actually making it a long-term solution, something that you can meet people who are similar and can play with you more often. Boom, baby, that was for you. And Boom Tap, that was for you. Okay, I know that we have schedules, we have lives, we have kids, we have wives, we have careers, and it's hard to find time to play sometimes. But if you can work out a schedule, there you go. This tool should be a huge help to everybody in finding what they need when they need it, for the most part. So I loved it. And by the way, for people who think that that sounds awful and they just want to go the old school route, they do mention you can turn that off. Now, of course, it goes further than just your availability, your playtime. I know I talked about that a lot because that's what immediately just went wild, like a wildfire in my brain, was, oh my gosh, this will be so helpful. But Brad McQuaid goes a lot deeper than that. He says just your interests. So like the kind of music you listen to, the bands you like, your hobbies besides MMOs, of course. We all know that's number one. But like, you know, things like that, just about you, right? And you can connect with people that you naturally already have something in common, just like a social media site would try to do, so that it creates, you know, an immediate connection. And then you can build game experiences on top of that, okay? Because here's the deal, and I can't believe this information couldn't have come at a better time. We knew there was going to be an advanced looking for group, and he's actually mentioned at some point something of this nature about the biography and being able to pull from it, but not with this much detail. So the deal is it's such a good time for that, because what's happening right now, at least in my world, what's happening in my world here at the NAPALM and the Knights of Napalm, is I'm starting to realize that people feel uncomfortable these days asking to group up, going out and finding people. That's you know, years and years of MMOs doing that job for us and just matchmaking us has kind of put us in this awkward position now. And I didn't even realize that that was there until we started up a guild in EverQuest 2, where you need to group, at least on the progression server you do. You gotta group up and you gotta level up together and things, and it's all public and open and everything like that. And we're kind of practicing in Pantheon on that, and I'm finding a lot of people who are just kind of trying to solo it through, and they're having a really rough time. They're quitting the game or they're getting upset, and I understand, because we've had years worth of this matchmaking type system, and I'm not knocking it. Some people enjoy that. It's just not for me. But this will alleviate some of that concern, because you can start out with a common, you know, a talking point, a breaking the ice type situation. Personally, I'm not a very shy person. If I'm quiet, it's because I'm thinking, or because I'm paying attention to something, or maybe I'm multitasking. That's about the only time I ever shut my freaking mouth. So, you know, I've never really, I don't have that problem, but I'm beginning to see that a lot of people do, and I can definitely, from a philosophical standpoint, understand why, because they've been playing MMOs the way that they've been made. But this is a really great tool, because not only when you can play and all this kind of thing, but your actual interests and hobbies coming into effect as well. Now, before I ramble on about this until the end of time, let me cut to another clip that they're also talking about the grouping and Pantheon's philosophy, etc. on it.
To me, it's getting the groups together. There's two really big important tenets here that we have a responsibility to help the players out with. One is getting a group together, and two is keeping that group together. So there's also a lot of other systems that we're working on to, you know, you're in the depths of a dungeon, and your enchanter has to leave for whatever reason. I don't know, he's 15 and his mom is yelling at him to do his homework. I don't know. But, you know, well, now what? We're one man down. We don't have another, you know, maybe we don't have another CC guy. So there's going to be ways to, without making it, you know, chimpy, there's going to be ways to bring newer people into your group, hopefully that you already know, but in trust. And so the idea is to get you guys up and running and continuing your adventure. The last thing we want is you guys, the group should go, man, we can't go any farther. Let's you know, let's teleport back to the beginning of the dungeon or camp out here, and just having one person leave basically screw up the entire night. So that's really important to us, as is helping you guys find like-minded people, same time zones, interests, play styles, and help you make real friends. And then the last thing I would say is what we're not doing, because this always comes up whenever people talk about group finders. Group finding can mean a lot of different things. What it doesn't mean is teleport you to the beginning of an instance dungeon and bring in, you know, 5 other random people, and then running through a dungeon and then getting to the end and you know, never talking to those people and probably never seeing them again. That's not what we're doing, and that would be the antithesis of how we're looking at the entire social grouping, guilds, all that stuff.
So there you go, straight from the McQuaid's mouth to your ear. That is not what they're looking for, okay? So for people who are all concerned, and I've seen it, like, oh my gosh, they're going to make it way too simple to find groups to a point where we won't even know each other. No, that is the very opposite of everything about Pantheon's vision. As a matter of fact, it completely breaks everything the game was designed to be, so don't worry about that. I know we're all very excited. We want to play the game. We want it to be the best MMO and the most social MMO, and we want it to be this wonderful, memorable experience. And guess what? I have great news. It will be, because Brad McQuaid knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's going for. This is the perfect opportunity for him to give up you and me and everybody else who's been waiting for all this time exactly what we want, and we have it coming, and that is amazing. Just sit back and sip on your alcoholic beverage and think to yourself, it's coming though. For so many years we were just waiting, like, please somebody make this game. Well, somebody's making the game now, so you know, we're so much closer. Each day that passes, we are so much closer to actually getting in on this game. And then from there, guess what? We're still going to be nervous, because we're still going to be worried about where the game's going to go, what the future patches are going to bring, what the expansions are going to change, etc., etc. And it goes on and on, guys. So just relax. We're at a fun point right now where we're coming up on a very possible stream here in a week or two, and we'll get to see some new things, and we'll get to maybe check out something very awesome. And I will be covering this entire roundtable eventually. I'm going to be doing it bits and pieces at a time. I don't want to overload my channel with like 12 videos today, but I will hop on it quickly. Anybody that's followed me long enough knows that I move very fast. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. What do you think about what they talked about with the grouping and the new kind of system for looking for group? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's the future of MMORPGs, or at least the future of the Pantheon MMO, the only one that really matters? Thanks for joining me today, guys, and if you aren't subscribed, please consider doing so, especially if you love Pantheon content, because that's what I mainly do. I dabble around, but Pantheon is my main goal. I'll drop absolutely everything for it. So I'll see you next time, guys, and until next time, God bless and happy gaming. Please listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. My friends all say I'm it's a video buffet. You can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize, but just please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.